Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. And tonight we have Ian Everard with us again. And let me get him up here on the stage. How's it going, Ian?
Hey there, LLC. It's good and all the better to hear you.
Oh, good deal, good deal. So how's the weather up there in beautiful Jackson Hole?
Yeah, we've gone winter, summer.
Yeah.
Spring didn't bother to make an appearance. We've gone from no leaves to full leaves on the aspen trees, and mud season is pretty well gone. So all is good weather-wise.
Cool. Well, yeah, lots going on as usual, or here lately at least anyway, in the silver and financial system.
Yeah, it's been interesting spot action today, hasn't it? I think a lot of people were expecting silver to get a further hammering, and it's bounced back up over 30.
Yeah, it's holding its own, isn't it?
Yeah, I never really sort of understood the psychological sort of round numbers, but they make a difference, don't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that there were another possible like 60 some banks that are maybe going to be put on the books finally, possibly. At least there's more rumors about it. So
yeah, that's just more cannon fodder for JP Morgan to suck all the juice out of, isn't it? And spit the remnants over to us, the taxpayers.
Right. Hey, Homestead Aquarius, Emerald Coast Stacker, Nickel Stacking. Thanks for being here, guys. Good to see you. Yeah, and so one of the bigger things that's being talked about, and I know I mentioned it in our last one, but is the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the arbitrage therein, I guess, of late here.
Yeah, there's been a bit of talk about it. So end of last week, I thought, well, I'll check it out. So you can go to, they've got a website and it tells you what the morning and afternoon silver fix is. And I worked out the difference on Friday. You know, you convert the kilos to ounces, and I think it was almost $3.85 higher, the afternoon fix in Shanghai on Thursday. I haven't checked this week.
Is that, let's see here. I'm wondering, do you just go to Shanghai Exchange?
Shanghai Gold Exchange.
Okay, let me type that in here.
Because we hear these things and we repeat them, but sometimes it's good just to go back to the source and check it.
For sure.
You know, there's a lot of things being said, particularly on on this sort of the precious metals alternative finance social media, that's actually incorrect.
Sure. Yep. All right, here. Let me share this screen and maybe it will look familiar to you if I'm on the right place, right site here or not. Does that look familiar to you?
If it says Shanghai Gold Exchange, that's the one.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe if you go to trading,
trading.
It's been a long week. I can't even remember.
Sure. Well, it lists out here market opening, yep, and pre-order matching, night trading session. So maybe you can click on those and get the let's see, let's go to data and see what we see over here. Oh, here we go. Okay, we got AU at whatever. These are latest high. Is this what? Let's see. Daily quotes. Are you guys seeing that over there?
It's a bit fine on my screen.
Okay. Well, I'll go look at it over the week and find it. But yeah, that's interesting to see that
the data's all there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to look into that a little bit.
It's an interesting dilemma because we always presume that, or there's a lot of presumption. I've presumed that China would want to destroy the Western financial system, but they're so dependent upon it and intertwined with it. I'm not so sure they're actually ready to bring the whole house of cards down.
Yeah.
I think their system is even more fragile than ours.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of intricate, delicate things going on there that I'm unaware of. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of wonder, back when I first started stacking, we had a saying that, well, the dollar's already lost 98% of its purchasing power.
Yeah, and it's way more now, isn't it?
And since then, I would say prices have at least doubled.
Yeah.
In my area. So if that takes us from 98, if that brings us to 99 or beyond, I just wonder if some of that constant the weakness of that, and I wonder if they if they have better access or ability to start draining the market. I mean, you kind of have to wonder if they're now just kind of pulling it in no matter what, and that kind of is holding the banks from being able to manipulate quite as easily as they were before. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what the thought pattern is anyway there, huh? What are you thinking there?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And the lower the actual reserves get, and I don't even know if the bullion banks who are doing all the manipulation, I don't even know if they actually know because they may be relying on other banks' data, and they may be lying about it to make their to do their longs and shorts and all of the manipulations. So it is possible no one actually knows what the physical reserves, particularly of silver, are. I think you mentioned it to me when we had a quick call yesterday. You reminded me about all of the Western bankers heading over to China.
Yeah.
What's that about?
There's been a major silver holding bank from the past few months from different banks. Someone else one person every month or something for the last few months. And this last one was Jamie Dimon.
Yeah.
So,
and he's leaving, isn't he? Isn't he retiring?
Early, he says. He's coming out with a surprise early retiring. So,
make a phrase out of these words. Jump, rat, ship. From
right, no doubt. Makes you wonder.
Probably it's best not to be in an important banking or Federal Reserve job when this all does collapse, is it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you were to say if it was going to start, if the physical market starts to pull this, have a sway on the actual market, where would you first start to see it show up? And this might be one of the places where you would say, well, that would be one of the places where it would start to pull through. I mean, if it stays a steady incline, then it's just slowly kind of ripping it away from the West there as far as pricing wise, right? I mean,
I mean, obviously the precious metals react to the currency debasement at a delayed rate, because some of that currency debasement that's caused prices to rise is trapped in currency, trapped in assets, stock shares, probably real estate, definitely commercial real estate. That's trapped until it leaks out. It's trapped in people holding US debt until they sell it and get dollars and then want to spend those dollars.
Right.
So there's definitely a long delay in the accounting. I just read a little clip about a guy called, what's his name? James Dimes. He wrote a book called Gold Bug, and I was just reading a little bit in the forward, and he was advising his early followers in the late 60s to buy gold at $35 and silver at 92.5 cents. It's like, so that was interesting, and I think we're going to see similar moves. What's coming that they had in the late 70s, except This time with 55 times more currency, according to Mike Maloney in his book.
Right. And the waking up of other, nations that are,
Yeah, more. Not only is there 55 times more currency, there's a lot more people who've got access to work out what is money and what is currency. So
right, exactly.
You don't have to find the book now, or find the library, or find the professor who actually knows. It's out there, isn't it?
Yep.
If you put in currency debasement, fiat currency, sound money,
right.
If you've got half a brain, you'll get to some good information.
For sure, for sure. JT Coin Rings, Neil's Han Dynasty, and Liberty Bleeds Silver. Welcome all in. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I hear you. And then we got India and the Green New Deal, obviously behind all of this. Whether how much of that is just hype and whatnot.
No, that's not hype. India is seriously expanding its solar panel production industry. I think they've realized, it makes sense for them. Lots of land, growing energy need. They're an importer of energy, so it makes sense for them to develop solar just nationally, internally, let alone building an industry to challenge China. They've got a younger workforce, much better population demographics. They've got reasonable democracy. They've got a legal system. So I think India is going to replace China a lot of production and a lot of things.
That's interesting. I know very little about it. I know my in-laws have spent some time over there, and they were kind of telling me the same thing that I was surprised to hear. That they were saying, it's doing well, and
yeah,
more up and coming, a lot more going on than we would know about. So
yeah, and the whole history of India would suggest to me that if it comes to it, they'll side with America. They'll side with us. If it becomes a bit even more hostile with China.
Yeah. Cranky Stacker, welcome in. Say, but I think I might have a package coming in tomorrow, and maybe we can do a live on it. Stack That Gold, welcome in. Yep, indeed. So China, India, these are some major pulls, at least on the silver. And then of course we've got Russia's always doing the gold too. I haven't heard much with silver with them. Do you know much about Russia and silver?
No. Except that pretty well all of their metal exports are now on the US blacklist.
I was going to say, yeah, those are blacklisted, and I know they're fairly big in, well, at least they have some. We get some platinum, right, from we did get it from Russia.
Yeah.
So, but that's not a thing anymore. And of course, just thinking about the osmium being a byproduct of that, and
yeah, that's completely anything, because I think the platinum is in the Ural region. That's in the east of the Russian Federation. Probably one of the distinct areas that will want to separate from the Russian Federation as soon as they can.
Yeah. Okay. Space Miner, good to see you, and Kevin the Weed Man, you as well. Welcome in.
I think Space Miner's been firefighting. I think
I seen that. Yeah, he looked like he was getting some stuff knocked down for something like that, evidently.
Oh, I want to say a big thanks to Neil. He sort of reawakened my desire for platinum, so I've been picking up a few.
Ooh, look at that. That's pretty.
Aren't they gorgeous, those Lady Fortuna?
Let me grab you here.
That's the 1 ounce.
Cool.
And then I managed to pick up the 25.
Oh, look at that.
Bars. Look at those babies.
I might be interested in some of those. Than Hung Lee, welcome in. Good to see you again.
So yeah, thank you, Neil, for reawakening my interest in platinum. And I got a few of I never realized how beautiful the platinum quarter ounce eagles are.
I have one of those.
They're so beautiful, aren't they?
They are. I wouldn't mind having another one, indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they stopped making them a while back, I think. You can only get back dates on those.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So there was some other channels that kind of went off, and we're saying CBDs. There's no way those are going to be a thing. That's ridiculous. And
it is ridiculous, but it's happening.
That's it for me. I mean, it is ridiculous. We shouldn't accept it, but I do think they're it's happening and going to happen.
I mean, if you look at a brief history of recently, I know ledgers aren't digital, but we went theoretical money when we went to checking accounts, because then the dollars were handwritten entries in a ledger. They were still virtual. Yes. It was just a virtual IOU, handwritten note in a book in the bank.
Yep.
And now with credit card, debit card payments, I mean, how many people use cash? I mean, and probably the largest cash users are people who actually buy precious metals, aren't they? Like,
yeah, right. Yep. Yeah, indeed. So I wanted to point out a couple things just so that it's not just my talk, like you were saying, not just people talking on the internet. So I'm gonna share my screen here and bring this up here.
Oh, it's JT. JT, I might be able to trade you a 1/4 ounce platinum to make me some rings, if you're interested.
Ooh, there you go. Nice.
I've got this beautiful 2002. Ooh.
So while you guys are wheeling and dealing there, it says here that now this was from like 2002, so this is old news, but this is the Biden administration signs a executive order, I believe it was, that they need to be looking into and making ways or figuring out the best way to use for the research and development of a U.S. central bank digital currency, or CBDC.
Yeah.
So that was done. You can, let's see if I can. I have to move it over here. So yeah, there's a couple more fact sheets on whitehouse.gov, just talks about it, and same thing. So it's, I know that in Congress they've came out and said no, we don't want it, but it's one of those things where
what wasn't it around 2002, or was it earlier? Maybe it was a bit earlier. The Banking for All Act. There's a published government paper, and it was dressed up to make it look like it's good because it'll get the unbanked banked. And I'm sure in that it talked about that the Federal Reserve would be the master holder. It'd be a FedNow account. And then the post offices and all the small banks, credit unions would have to offer it to anybody who asked. And their costs of providing it would be refunded by the Federal Reserve.
Yes, and of course, this would happen in case of a crisis, of course.
Well, the crisis will be this crisis will be the reason, and it will be a very plausible, real, imminent
Sure.
danger
right.
of social collapse.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So I mean, So I mean, that's why they're saying, that's why they've already signed up, because they might act like they don't know, but I mean, even the Federal Reserve came out and publicly said we're on an unsustainable path forward. So
yeah, it's like a sort of a bit of insurance, isn't it, in case it goes wrong too soon?
Yep, exactly. Yep, just preparing the way for sure.
And they might even leave us with a little bit of cash, but if it's becoming insignificant if you look at how little cash there is.
Yep.
I think they call it vault cash. I don't think they even publish that data anymore. But last time I saw it published, I think it was around $2 trillion, which sounds a lot. But if you look at the transactions that are done by wire, ACH, all the other platforms, debit card, credit card, MasterCard, Visa, Discovery, if you started to look at how many trillions are transacted in that, the amount of transactions in cash must be in the low 1-2% probably.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I heard. I heard somebody talking about that as well, that maybe they would leave us with some cash, but it'll be so insignificant on the...
Yeah, because I mean, they've tried the coin shortage. I'm sure that was engineered. We're definitely going to get a $100 bill shortage because they didn't print any after 2017.
Yeah, and okay, so while we're on that quick subject, so I want to introduce this guy, my channel to this guy. He answered a lot of questions for me. And it's John Titus, and his channel is Best Evidence. And he talks here about the coin shortage, and I found this to be interesting. But what for anyone who has questions like on the Federal Reserve and how when they create money, how it gets inserted to the system, and how now it's also being inserted into the common people's circuit of money, and how that's in creating inflation. And this guy laid it out for me in a way that was great. So, but I want to play a little bit. I'm sorry, and we might go a little bit long tonight if you don't mind.
I've got half a gallon of tea, so I'm fine.
Awesome. So bear with me here, guys, and I'm going to play this at 1.25 speed. It's interesting, I think. So
I want to make a quick video about the coin shortage. I'm traveling. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina right now. I'm actually by one of my favorite places, the old Milburnie Dam. And I wasn't going to make a video at all, but this coin shortage has gotten on my nerves enough to where I don't care. I'm going to just use my point and shoot camera and make a quick video. Then what I'm going to show you is that the media is lying. The Federal Reserve is lying about the coin shortage. The culprit behind the coin shortage is the Federal Reserve. Then what I'm going to show you in this video is that the Federal Reserve hates coins even more than it hates cash. Hard as that might be to believe, I'm going to show you that in this video, on top of the fact that it's the Federal Reserve itself that's restricting the coins right now. I'm going to prove that to you. So with no further ado, let the lying begin.
George. Hey, Shari, this really giving new meaning to that saying, the cash is king argument. Now, the Fed has attributed this shortage to the pandemic. There is less circulation and less production at the U.S. Mint.
Okay, there you see it on local ABC News in Philadelphia. They're generically blaming circulation, which really isn't helpful, doesn't advance the analysis, merely restates the problem. And they're blaming the U.S. Mint. You know, it's too bad they have a mint there right in Philadelphia. The news could have asked the mint there in Philadelphia whether the mint was in fact the problem, and found out that the mint isn't the problem, as we know from this video released by the U.S. Mint 1 week ago.
Hi, I'm Dave Ryder, Director of the United States Mint. I have the distinct privilege of leading the employees who are manufacturing our nation's coins. I want to assure you that the men and women of the Mint workforce are working as hard as they possibly can to get newly produced coins into the economy. In fact, we are on track to mint more coins this year than we have produced in almost 20 years.
Okay, as you just saw, the Mint is on track to produce the most coins it's produced in the last 20 years. The Mint is not the problem. ABC is the problem. It simply lies. Now, ABC is not the only one to blame circulation. The Federal Reserve Chairman himself, Powell, also blames circulation, although to his credit, he is a bit more specific. But to the extent he's a bit more specific, he is also utterly ridiculous. Let's watch this clip.
What's happened is that with the partial closure of the economy, the flow of coins through the economy has gotten it's kind of stopped. The places where you go to give your coins and get credit to store, get cash, get, folding money, those have not been working. Stores have been closed. So the whole system of flow had come to a stop. We're well aware of this.
Okay, there you have it. The chairman of the Federal Reserve is telling us that not only is it the problem that stores are closed, which is totally absurd, wouldn't be a coin problem at all if the stores are just closed. The whole problem is the stores are open and they don't have coins. So that's ridiculous. And the other excuse he blames is the coin kiosk machine. You know, those places you go, you dump buckets of your coins in the grocery store to get store credit and, did I get that right, Foul? Folding money? That's what you call cash? What is that slang from like 1927? Anyway, those are Powell's fault, guys. That's who's causing the coin problem, is the coin kiosks. So let's now go to one of the CEOs of the largest coin kiosks in the US and see whether Powell's story adds up.
And now let's bring in Jim Gaharity. He is the CEO of Coinstar. Mr. Gaharity, it's great to have you here. And man, what a story. So basically what's happened? No one's coming to your kiosks?
Well, that's not it at all.
Well, thank God those coin kiosks are still working, and that it was simply the Fed chairman lying under oath in sworn congressional testimony. For a minute, I thought we had a real problem there. But if the coin kiosks are working, that begs the question of what is giving rise to the coin problem. And for that, let's go back to the CEO of Coinstar and let him finish his explanation.
The issue really is with the pandemic, people have stayed in their homes more frequently, and grocery trips are down. At the height of the pandemic, it was about 50% less trips to grocery. And as a result, there's just been less time for folks to go in and do the coin transactions.
Okay, I cut my grocery trips in half, and that reduces my time to go to the coin kiosk and change out my coins. Yeah, whatever. Okay, you get it. There's lies flying all around. If you want to source from somebody who actually is in or has access to the distribution chain for coins and who can get to the bottom of what's going on with this coin shortage, here you go.
I received a call from a bank here in Tennessee's 6th Congressional District yesterday, alerting me to the fact that they had been notified at the beginning of this week by the Fed that they would only be receiving a small portion of their weekly order of coinage. According to this banker, his institution will likely run out of coins by Friday of this week or this weekend. And after some preliminary research, I found that many other banks across my district are having the same operational challenge.
So there you have it. It is not the mint. It is not the retailers. It is not the banks. It is not the general public having less time of the day to go to the coin kiosk. The problem with the coin shortage is stemming from the Federal Reserve itself. The Federal Reserve is deliberately causing the coin shortage. Now the only question is why the Fed would want to cause a coin shortage. And for that, as always, we will look at the Federal Reserve balance sheet and see what the Fed's motivation might be for cutting off the supply of coins in the US. If you scroll down to section 5, or maybe it's table 5, you can see assets and liabilities broken out, starting with assets. One of the first assets you see there is coin, sitting at $1.5 billion. You'll notice that cash, in other words, Federal Reserve notes, cash isn't on the list of assets. That's because cash is a liability, not an asset, which you can see from the next page, Federal Reserve notes. That's cash at $1.96 trillion. So big fundamental difference between cash, which is a Federal Reserve liability, and coins, which is a Federal Reserve asset. Okay, cash and coin are obviously both money. So why is it that one is a liability and the other is an asset on the Fed's balance sheet? The answer is that cash is a liability because it is an IOU issued by the Federal Reserve. That is why it says Federal Reserve note on top. The issuer of the coin is not the Federal Reserve. The Treasury is the issuer of coins. The Federal Reserve issues its IOUs, be they Federal Reserve notes or reserves, in order to acquire assets that are produced by another party. That's what the Federal Reserve does. It issues currency and it issues Federal Reserve notes, it issues reserve to acquire assets. The Fed prefers assets that bear interest. Coins do not bear interest. That is one reason the Federal Reserve does not like coins. But the real reason that the Fed does not like coins is that it's money issued by someone else. It is issued by the Treasury. Money issuance is a sovereign prerogative. There are two sovereigns in the US. One is the Federal Reserve, it is the dominant sovereign, and it is in the process of killing off the weaker sovereign, which is us, the US government, the Treasury, what have you. And that is what the fundamental tension is between cash and coins. The Treasury is the issuer of coins. The Fed is very jealous of that. Incidentally, when the Fed issues dollar bills, $100 bills, $1 bills, it pays 6 to 15 cents per bill. The difference between the face value and the production costs of any money is called seigniorage. Seigniorage accrues to a sovereign power. And now when we look at coins, you see coins are basically cost less than a penny to produce. And all the money, the difference in face value, it accrues to the Treasury, which is a different sovereign. It is a sovereign counterparty to the Fed. The people telling you that the Federal Reserve is simply an agent of the Treasury do not know what they are talking about and are probably lying to you on purpose. They are different. And when the Fed buys coins, it pays face value for those coins. You want a quarter of Federal Reserve? That'll be 25 cents. And that is the fundamental difference between coins and currency, or between coins and Federal Reserve notes, excuse me. Anyway, there's a lot more to this. I could talk for hours on this. I'm just touching the surface, but I wanted to get to the bottom of this. The Federal Reserve is causing the shortage in coins, and it damn well has a motive to do so. It doesn't like the US government as Treasury. It does not like the US government as a sovereign. It does not like we, the people in this, as a sovereign. And it is in the process of killing us off and becoming the dominant and the sole sovereign power. And that's really what's going on.
So that is John Titus, and I just thought it was kind of a good little clip on that coin shortage deal. But he doesn't have a whole lot of videos, but the ones that he puts out are really good, and he breaks down especially about inflation and how there was kind of two separate systems, but now he shows how when they print money now and buy assets, they're buying real assets with money out of thin air, and that now is bleeding into our circuit of money, which is gonna always continue to cause inflation. And he does a great job of making that very understandable, as well as, like you were talking earlier, Ian, how he also shows today's banking system. And ever since we went off the gold standard, how it's kind of like now there's not even the vault when you go into the bank is wide open and there's no cash in there, and how and why and how does that kind of function. And he shows that when you deposit money into the bank and then you send it to someone else, they'll on the back side of that also send over something to match the cash, just kind of to keep pretend imaginary backing to the dollar, so that it seems legit kind of. But anyway, he breaks down all the monetary some questions that I kind of knew but didn't understand how it worked. He shows you just easily, and I really impressed with that guy's channel. John Titus, Best Evidence. Go check him out.
I like his attitude as well.
Yeah, oh, and he's yep.
So there's one thing he didn't mention, and I'm pretty certain that another reason is to frustrate the use of cash. If you're restricting the amount of $100 bills, which they are because they stopped printing in 2017, and then if you restrict the smaller end, it's harder and harder to use, isn't it? Larger transactions, it's hard to get enough of the larger notes. And the smaller change stores need they start demanding the correct change. So you tend to take the path of least resistance. If I've got a pocket full of coins, I tip it out and it goes on the dresser and ends up in a bucket. In fact, it never leaves my house.
Yep. I'm the same way. Yep.
And especially nickels. I mean, nickels, I think they're worth 6 cents or 7 cents nickel content.
That's funny. I have a separate. I just since nickel stacking, nickel stacking, I have a separate cup from nickels, and I also sort out my pre-82 pennies. So that's how bad it's getting.
Was there 2-3 cents of copper now? Isn't there? Copper at $11,000 a ton.
Over 3 cents per.
Yeah. I mean, every now and then I order a box of nickels from the bank, and they come in $250 in a slab in a box, and I put that aside as a little side hustle savings plan.
Yep, no doubt. Hey, Kansas Kid, welcome in. Good to see you.
But yeah, that really confirms it. Interesting. So they can just make it harder and harder to use cash, and more stores do no cash transactions, and that will reduce the circulation. And the longer they trap it, the more it loses its purchasing power. People get fed up of holding it.
Yeah, and then another thing he does good a job of laying out is in how you're you're just so they're buying, like, that's the other, like, not only they're buying assets by their money basically when they print it immediately steals its value from us. And by the time it gets to us, it's lost its value. But that initial robbing, they're sucking up banks, basically. They're becoming the buyer of last resort, as what Gregory Mannarino says, and they're actually putting real assets on their books, right? With this,
and I'm sure they're putting real assets off the books. I'm sure they're siphoning off some of this funny money and buying real things that there's no record of.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is he also pointed out that there's a middleman that is basically only there for skimming. So before it goes from the Fed to the banks, it has to go through this middleman, and he just gets a cut every time.
Yeah.
That's like his main purpose.
Yeah.
It's
the same, isn't it? When they have the treasury auctions, I think they tell Goldman Sachs gets a schedule ahead of date what they're going to be selling, what the term is, what the yield is, and so Goldman Sachs can front run. They've got the market data ahead, and they can position themselves to take advantage.
Yep.
It's yeah. It is. Why do we put up with it? I guess
that's kind of the thing. Is
well, we don't do it. We don't put up with it. I think probably everyone here is in the alternative financial system,
right? But we gotta. I mean, you know, I guess you're just hoping, or I'm hoping that the word starts to spread a bit more. Because once, like, if you guys would go watch a few of his videos on how it's happening and how. Just literally, this is a magic hat trick, guys, that and it's robbing everyone, and they're, you know, it's step by step, and then once they own everything, well, then they have control to issue a CBDC, and, you know, I mean, it's a track that they're trekking, and the end of it is the idea that they've already floated out that we can't hardly wrap our mind around, that it would be a legit thing. But I think that's their legit plan.
It goes back. I mean, people must get fed up with it. I'm always quoting Montague Norman's 1924 speech in New York to the American Bankers Association. And in part of a speech, he says, we will allow the people to have their political parties, so they expend their energies fighting over matters of no importance, whilst we, and the we means his group of leading financiers, form an imperialism to rule the world. So they're not settling to get most of the wealth; they want world domination, don't they?
Yep. Yeah. And that's the, if you follow the footprint, and I mean that's it, and that's what you find. And
yeah, and I think it's important when I say they, I'm talking about the leading financiers. I'm talking about where the value and all of the effort of the production of nations is just moving upwards. It's getting ever more concentrated. So it's that small group of people, whether there's another layer above Gates and Bezos and, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure there is.
There probably is a level above, and those people are probably
it's hard to get. Well, you can go and you can find some big names, but I think there's blocks all the way up, and the closer you get, the closer you get to
the shorter your life expectancy.
Exactly. So it would have to be, but you know, that's the other thing that people bring up is there's so many more of us. You know.
Yeah, I just saw a comment there from Nebraska Stacker, I think in Nebraska, something about states passing laws to ban them, but it won't matter, will it? In a crisis, when your MasterCard, your Visa, your Discovery, whatever payment platform you're using, your Venmo, your Cash App, your Zelle, your Apple Pay, when they all stop working, and the only way they'll announce to get them back working is we've got to switch to a full CBDC.
Yep.
How many people are going to stand up and say, no, don't do it, let's just go Mad Max instead?
Yep, and especially
if you live in a city or a dense urban area where you haven't got your own supply of fuel, heat, food, water, transportation, security, what are you going to do? You're going to say, yeah, let's go Mad Max, bring it on. It's like, you're not. You can say, please give me the CBDC, Mr. Fed.
Yeah. Like, oh, for sure. I think
make
so.
Pain go away. Please make my credit card work again. You know.
Yep, and it'll be a reward or a stick.
Yeah, it'll be both, because the threat will be, if we don't do it, this pain will continue and get worse. You know, the gas stations will stop pumping. There'll be no food deliveries. You know.
Yep.
And that will be the choice.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, it doesn't make it the right decision to do at that point. But if you think about it, at that point, it is the right decision to do. I know that sounds paradoxical and contradictory. But you either let the cities melt down And I think that the Portland riots and the Denver riots and the other cities, I think they were allowed, provoked, inflamed to experiment just to see what happens. You know, how far can you let civilization break down and then bring it back from the brink? I'm sure that was just like a little mice in a laboratory experiment.
Right.
Let's let the people go feral, do crazy stuff, and let's see how far it can go, and then we can still bring it back, you know, before it goes. And those movie writers, I don't know who the writer of Mad Max was, but I think a lot of them like they see the future.
They do. Oh, they do. They do. For who was it?
Yeah.
One of the last ones I seen was the one with the Mockingbird Girl or whatever. I haven't seen them all, but I watched like one of those, and that's just whoever made that knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we can't, you know, we can't all move out to a mountain town, can we? There isn't enough mountain towns. We can't all escape suburbia or dense city living.
Yeah.
I think it's 50%, isn't it, in America now live in dense urban? I think it's something like that.
That'd be some interesting figures to look at. I haven't seen that. That'd be interesting.
So just for the sake of those people there, you know, you've got to keep the utilities working. You've got to keep the fire service turning up, the police and doctors and hospitals and food deliveries, gasoline delivering. You got to keep that running, haven't you? You know, most cities run on a just-in-time basis. I think it's 3 days is typical for food. If they didn't get any deliveries, they'd be sold out in 3 days. Let alone if you had a bit of a panic to that. And we saw that, didn't we, with the toilet paper crisis?
Yep. Nick Bermudez, welcome in. Good to see you. He has a question for you, Ian.
Sure.
You see it there. It says, "Hi, Ian. I just got on the live feed. Were you able to check out the crystallization process for osmium while you were at the?"
I learned a lot more, Nick. Yes, I had the pleasure of meeting Rolf, the Swiss scientist. He's doesn't often appear in public, but he did come to the annual symposium. So he did an excellent talk on how and why he settled on the challenge of crystallizing osmium. But obviously he's not giving away any secrets. The reason they never patented the process was once you patent a process, you're telling the world how to do it. So he's certain that no one else is either going to have the motivation and the skill to replicate it. He did have some serious explosions in the journey. It's a miracle he's alive, actually.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you're boiling a metal with one of the highest boiling points.
What was it, like over 9,000
Fahrenheit? That sounds hot, doesn't it? You know? And you've got to stop. That cannot come into contact with oxygen. Otherwise you won't get the purity, and you won't get the crystallization. So he's a smart guy. He traveled the world as well, buying up all of the old chemistry and physics books he could find, especially the ones that had been, printed 100 years or 200 years ago that were reprinted, because just the fact that a book would be printed in the first place meant it had an intense value, and you would normally have to get a rich, wealthy lord or a king to fund the publishing of it, because it costs so much to print a book. And then he would look for ones that had been then translated. And so I'm sure he's got some secret sources scoured from some old research, as well as the 40 years he spent. But yeah, it's still hard to grasp, and that's the biggest question I think that prevents people from buying in it. They feel that it's likely or probable that somebody else will be able to come and replicate the process.
Yeah,
but
well,
even if they could, the biggest market is generally wealthy people, family offices, businesses. they won't buy anything that isn't 100% proven where it came from.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. There's osmium floating around that no one has any idea where it came from. And if they do, they're not telling because it came from illegal mining activities or mining done at very high risk and damage to the health of the miners mining it. Yeah. So the Osmium Institute has spent 10 years scouring the world for all of the ethically produced osmium. And in that journey, they've recently realized there's a lot less out there than anybody ever thought.
That's great.
So they've decided they've got their 300 kilos, and Rolf has decided he wants to go into partial retirement at the end of 2026. So the 300 kilos plus the 50 they've already crystallized, that's the production quantity.
Wow. And their original outlook, so what's the, you said it was like 1/60th or something of what?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I first met Ingo in early last year, he was talking the projected whole ever world mine production in all time would be a cubic meter maximum. That would be just the practicalities of accessing it and extracting it.
Yeah,
there's a presumption in the whole of the Earth's crust of it varies from 7 cubic meters to 14 cubic meters. So the projection was that 1 cubic meter would be recoverable, which is just under 23 tons. But that would be through till every piece of platinum and every piece of nickel had been mined, till there was 0 left to mine. Yeah. So theoretically, there probably was only ever going to be a quarter of that, maybe a tenth of that.
Right.
Anyway, so maybe there was going to be, say there was going to be 10%. So 10% of 23 tons, 2,300 kilos. So that's 2,003. It's end of a long day. I'll get my calculator out. I should be able to move a decimal point, but
yeah. Well, I think
divided by 10. So theoretically, there might have only been 2,300 kilos, but now we know we're only going to get 350. So really, I mean, Ingo is probably the smartest person, the most intelligent person I'll ever meet. He thinks 20 times faster than I can. He speaks in English faster than I can think in English. When he speaks in German, no one knows what the heck he's saying because he speaks so fast. But he's a high-functioning genius. He's managed to build a team and communicate and build the business to get it to the state. So looking at that math, maybe we would have got 2,300 kilos if all of the osmium
went perfectly well
in our lifetime. You know, because we're talking with the cubic meter in the whole. If all of the platinum and nickel is mined out, is everything is mined, and all of the osmium separated. So part of their journey in collecting all of the ethically produced 100%, they knew exactly where it came from and how it was mined. They realized that there'd been a big trade of osmium a long time ago. And it was sold, broken down, and resold, and that was counted as new osmium. So it was accidentally hypothecated. So there was a presumption there's a lot more osmium.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and even I kind of am in the back of when I first heard that they're gonna retire, and my first thought was that's going to get bought out by another company at some point.
It's not for sale. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's not for sale. But like, even if someone was to try to redo it, for one thing, it's a really hard process. And even this guy had to refine it several times. Like I heard you talking about before.
Yeah. I mean, it was 40 years. He got it to a stage where he thought it was marketable. And then he was having trouble finding anybody who was interested into it. And then he came across Ingo Wolf, and Ingo Wolf had a 20-minute meeting with him that turned into a 6-hour meeting. And after that, at the end of the meeting, Ingo said, I'll sell all of my businesses and we will create a market and create a system and create demand for this, the rarest element, and that's what they've done.
Yeah, and I just think that even if you know they're going to have a hard time getting it up to the quality that he has it at now,
and the quantity. If it's taken them 10 years to accumulate 300 kilos,
right?
350 total. They've crystallized 30. They've sold. Sorry, they've crystallized 50 kilos. They sold 30 kilos. So the pace of sales will need to increase rapidly because they've sold just over 25 kilos in 10 years. But I think that's going to happen. Every goldsmith, every jeweler that I met at the symposium are so enthusiastic about it. There's a great guy in near London in England. He's making most incredible pieces. He's having no trouble selling it. So I think we're at that point where the information is getting out there, and that demand will increase. And their plan is to match the price increases to keep a steady flow, so they don't sell out at any point. But they are selling out. I mean, they're frequently selling out, especially the 2mm squares, Neil. Buying up all the 2mm squares.
There, I guess what I was going to say is even if someone tries to get it, they'll have a hard time getting it there, and they're just not gonna like this.
No.
Name will be the Tiffany of it's gonna be the top quality. You're not gonna. So I mean, no matter what, this is gonna be the product.
You'd probably have to put several billion of speculative capital up. You'd have to recruit a crazy scientist as smart as Rolf. Now, when no offense, Rolf, if you get to see this, I don't mean you're crazy. I think it's just the archetypal, the world's view of a genius, isn't it? We think they're crazy because we can't understand them. It's like, so even if you could do that, and even if you manage to replicate it, now you've got to build a database. Now you've got to prove that your osmium is ethically sourced. But the Osmium Institute has taken them 10 years to accumulate this 300 kilos. So there's so many, and then say even if you manage to do it, and now we got 20 kilos. So you make your 20 kilos. Well, you're going to sell out, aren't you? And then you've got nothing to sell. And and to create the excellence, I mean, their database system is just really awesome, and I think it took that Germanic, their attention to detail, fastidious attention to detail.
Yeah, and it's the most probably detailed documentation that can't be replicated on the most rare metal.
Yeah,
and
it's interesting. Some people just get it on the spot. So I was just checking something on WhatsApp this morning, and I saw an old friend from England was on WhatsApp, and he'd sent a hello, I'm on WhatsApp, and I accidentally called him, and he was asking, how's it going, what you're doing, and I told him what I'm doing. He said, I want to buy some of that for my wife. Like, we just get it, and he's never seen it.
That was my first reaction too.
Yeah, that's what they call the osmium sponge in the sort of a black powder.
Yep, that's was Cranky Stacker was asking what it looks like in its raw form. So this is it.
In its refined form. You've got to keep that clear of oxygen.
And that's toxic right there. That's
and even in the sintered cubes that you can sometimes buy. Scarlett Klaus, she bought one just to have a look and play around with it. So they put it on a sheet of white paper and left it on the office desk over the weekend. When they came back and lifted it off the paper, there was a brown osmium tetroxide formed on. So it left a stain on the paper.
Wow.
Oh, that's do you know that watch there?
No, but I was admiring it.
Oh my gosh, I had the chance to buy that. When I met them, they were showing me the different things that had been made. That was $180,000 in late 2022. That is now $426,000.
Wow. Yeah, there's some beautiful stuff. and pictured in these things. And then this is a close-up of the, let me back out just a bit here.
That's a high resolution of the crystal structure. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's what these pieces look like blown up. And you know, each crystalline structure there is unique and can't be replicated because this is the most dense element there is. And so
yeah, and every facet, every angle, every ledge intersect at a slightly different angle, so you've got almost an unlimited range of data points. So the coding in there is fascinating.
Right. So for those of
that could be used for a secure entry system.
Wouldn't that be cool to have like necklaces?
No, I want one. I want one to open my front door.
Exactly, right? No one else can get in there, but you just walk up and it opens for you.
Yeah.
No one would know what's going on.
Hey, the watch will work.
Right. No, yeah. Yeah. That would be cool. So yeah. So,
yeah, I didn't just sort of swinging all the way back to Nick's question. I didn't ask too many questions because he's not answering, and I wouldn't want to. But I do want to interview him. Hopefully he's going to come to visit in the States. But I respect the decisions they made. It's not necessarily how I would have done it, but then I haven't done what they've done, so how do I know what I would have done? It's like
right. No, I've been impressed. I mean, so far this, you know, this last news was the most interesting, but you know, I've been impressed with how they've been running things. So.
I just saw a question there from
Ellie
asked.
Yep.
Yeah, different pieces. So here's one of my favorites is the teardrop. How's that going to work?
I'm going to buy your laptop when you go to sell it.
Oh, well, in case there's any osmium crystals on it.
Well, in case you drop any of those in there again.
Yeah.
How many pieces you drop in there every time we have a...
There's the little teardrop shape. And this is just in artificial light. It's like the camera can't cope with the...
Yeah.
If I try and hold it still.
Right. No, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep, you can see it sparkling. In the sunlight, it kind of trips out the camera. It doesn't know how to handle the
sunlight. It loves because of the hexagonal structure. You've got hexagonal layers and layers and layers. So when parallel light hits it, it sends all of that energy straight back at you. If you're behind the light source, so if you're behind, the sun's behind you and it's pointing at the osmium.
Yeah.
So it sends all of that energy, all of the light straight back at you. It doesn't diffuse.
Right. Which everything else.
So that's why it works really well with sunlight. It works really well with car headlight bulbs, actually. Anything that produces a parallel light pattern.
Okay.
You get that. Other shapes. Oh, I said we would. There we go.
Yeah.
That's one of the first 18mm hexagons.
Those are my favorite. That's the line I want to sell on my channel is the hexagonal. The honeycomb osmium. Boy, that is beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's a Sparkle 4. I can pull up the QR code.
Sparkle 4. So that's a pretty one and a pricey one, probably.
Yeah, a lot of people say, "Is it backlit?" I said, "No, there's nothing there." It's all
yeah, show the back. Flip it around. Show that back too, so people understand that the back is actually just the pure metal. It's 100. It's pure. Wow, actually, that's really reflective there too. But
that's a bit shiny. Whoa, I haven't. That's the most reflective back I've seen.
That's what I was going to. It's very more.
I want this one now. That is really reflective.
Well, that's what happens when you start getting into those shapes. Good things happen, you know. So
yeah, that was because of you, LLC.
Right.
They just came to me, and I think I'd seen a picture of the honeycomb on one of your things. And so it was in my the hexagon was in my shape, and because they like these because there's minimal waste when they cut them. Awesome. So other shapes, they do 250 total. Here's the
L was wondering how much that piece was. I think you said around 3 or 4 grand.
Let's pull it up and have a look.
All
So I don't know if Ellie's seen this before, but every piece has got a alphanumeric number.
Yep.
So you can either enter that number into the Identify Osmium site, or you can scan the QR code. So I'll scan the QR code and we'll see what it pulls up. This one's on loan. They gave me some pieces, lent me a box full of bits to bring back.
Oh, sweet.
So,
okay. Yep. There's your
there we go.
code, and there it is on the net.
Let's do the fun bit first. Let's pull up the picture. There's it loading. Yeah, so there's the picture of it.
Metally corrupted. Yeah, they gotta keep you busy there, huh?
So that
Yeah,
that's the crystal structure of the surface. I never know how to quite get that back to the oh, no, that's not it.
Yeah, Nick, that violin with the osmium is a beautiful piece indeed.
Oh, I got to see it again, but they wouldn't let me hold it. Seriously, I looked after it. It was my baby for a week. It never left my side. I was supposed to vault it overnight, but I took it home. It was not leaving my side. And they wouldn't let me hold it. It's like
there's a good.
Yeah. So that piece is a Sparkle 5, 0.71 millimeter average thickness, and that's how much that one is.
Woohoo! Wow. Yeah, that's such a high sparkle grade. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
You can get them, so you can get those. I think Ian was telling me a little bit reduced price if you get that sparkle grade down. So
get a lower sparkle grade and a thinner piece. Yeah, they'll start in the 2000s. But the smallest pieces, as Neil knows, are the 2 millimeter squares.
Yeah.
They start around the $26. Then they do a whole range of discs from 3 millimeters up to 125 millimeters. So that's the coin disc.
Coin disc, very nice. Yeah, Nick has another good question here. He says, LLC, did you get a shooting star pendant yet?
I am chasing my goldsmith. He's a really nice guy, but he's an artist, and he runs his business. So I will be. The best way I found is actually just turn up and walk in the shop, because here's a use. So I got this for my wife at the trip. So this is a.
Oh wow, cool.
This is a osmium diamond set, and this is antler.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a piece of antler that's been cut.
That's cool.
Decorated. Yeah,
that's pretty. Yeah, I like that.
I thought it's time my wife had some osmium to advertise.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, you had to get some on your wife before you sent, so my wife can't be showing off. I see how it is. Yeah.
We have a line of stuff, and your piece is in the ahead of all of ours. We've got earrings, rings, pendants, all sorts of stuff. It's backing up, but he does such a good job. I don't want the hassle of trying to find another goldsmith, really.
Sure. No, I bet it'll be great. I'm not.
Yeah.
So L, she asks, how much is the size of a 1 carat round? So if you got something about the size of a diamond, you could get it.
Well, 1 carat. So 1 carat is a 1/5 of a gram. It's 0.2, isn't it? So 0.2, I think on the very, very lightest 3 millimeter rounds come in at around the 0.2.
And that's probably $100.
No, 0.02. 0.2.
0.02, yeah. So
a carat is 0.2 of a gram. So the osmium is $1,400 a gram. So divide that by 5. So it's $280 a carat by weight, not counting the cutting charge. because the smaller round pieces have a cutting charge to allow for the wastage. Well, wastage, it's the osmium from the cutting process then has to go back in the whole process, be purified, ground into a powder, and then through the whole crystallization process. So the squares don't carry a cutting charge because the minimal waste. So they cut it with electrical discharge machine, EDM machine. Did we actually answer that question before I? So what's the size of 1 carat round? So the lightest weight, so 1/8 of an inch diameter, to answer that question.
Okay. And yeah, so going back a little bit, yeah, so on how they price, so far, you know, yeah, they're selling it and people are buying it, and people wonder, you know, how is this market set? So obviously it's by right now, it's by they're selling it at by the gram, and people are buying it at $1,400 a gram.
Yeah.
But they're looking at this,
not for long. So the price history, 2017, it was $560 something a gram.
Right.
Now we're bouncing around the $1,400 a gram. In around 3 weeks' time, there's going to be a price increase. I'm guessing it's going to be 10%, I would guess. So what they are doing, they are trying to keep the supply matched to the demand by increasing the price. And by the end of 2026, they're predicting 120% price rise.
120. They're putting out a prediction for it too.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think it's more than a prediction. I think that's their
that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. If you click on all time on that chart, that gives you.
Let me get into USD here too. Hold on.
I wish I'd known about it in 2017 for sure.
So yeah, so here we go. It's all in US dollars, and so yeah, right now we're at about, let me zoom in here. Where are we? We're at about 14.24. So yeah, they're pricing it, and now they're going to reprice it, and that's based off their new. Now they know where their ending point is, and they're doing a in.
They are, yeah, and I'm sure Ingo and the team have looked at this and confident it will work. I mean, the only reason it wouldn't, if they do keep putting the price up and the sales fall off, I think that will be a clue to them to keep the price stable till the demand matches the supply. But since they're the only since the Swiss company is the only producer and the Osmium Institute are the only wholesaler, it is the pricing is in their hands.
Sure.
It's they're right. It's a privately owned business.
For sure. Yeah. Yep. I mean, they could set the price, and if no one buys it, they can just sit on it because it's their prerogative. So
I think I saw someone ask how it was cut. So it's actually more abrasive than diamond. It's on the similar hardness scale. So they cut it. The bigger pieces are cut by laser, and then the smaller and the finer detail is cut with electrical discharge machine. So that's an incredibly fine, continuous spool of wire, and that's pulled through like a bandsaw, except it's not on a loop. And as it is pulled through, it has about, I think it's about 1 million volts passed through it, and that the effect that has, it sucks up the metal in front atom by atom and leaves an incredibly clean, fine cut.
Wow, cool. Are you going to send me some of those, Neil, so I can put them up on my auction?
What's that? His nose rings?
His nose rings, yeah. So he's going to do a video. He needs to do a video on them and then send them over. Yeah, well, that's interesting. And you said there's probably going to be a month or so, roughly-ish, and then they'll probably reprice.
Yeah, it was going to happen almost straight after the end of the annual symposium, but because obviously it was only a few weeks before that it was announced the total production amount, and that woke up a lot of people around the world who had started selling osmium and had sort of gone to sleep on the job, or I mean, sometimes you put a lot of effort in, you work away for months and months and months, and nobody buys anything,
Right.
and people gave up. But so a lot of people, they woke up and said, well, will you give us a little bit of time? We want to have a go at this again.
Right. Get some more in before.
Yeah. And sometimes people need to see it 2 or 3 times, but it's a little bit different. This is not, I don't consider myself a salesman. Some people say I'm a good salesman, but I don't. That's not my objective, really. I think it's very binary. It's very quick. Like I said earlier, that friend I hadn't spoken to for a couple of years in England, within a minute he's asking me what I'm doing, and I tell him, and he says, I want some. Okay. I think that's how it is.
Yeah. That's how it was for me.
Yeah. Okay. It's the rarest thing. It's beautiful. It's dense. It's unforgeable. It's got all those security features.
Yep.
And in this form, it's even rarer. Yeah.
Right. And
that's why I bought the vice president's ring and pendant at the first time I met them, because they didn't have anything they were allowed to sell.
Yeah. Yeah, it's intriguing product. Well, Ian, what else you got for me tonight? You got some good silver products up there?
Always. Yeah. I mean, there's still some real good premiums. The window's narrowing. They sell out quick. But we have Britannias, Silver Britannias, Krugerrands, Philharmonics at $2.25 premium. So that's pretty close to what a lot of companies are selling rounds for. And those are sovereign coins.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff. Well, we do have some 2023 Libertads.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Which I want to talk to the Mr. Coin guy, because I think these make a real good coin ring.
JT coin ring, yeah, he would. He talked. I bet he would like those for.
Yeah, so if he could give me get in touch with me, that would be awesome, because I'm going to trade in this, I think, to make some coin rings.
Cool.
And I haven't really advertised these yet. We picked these up a while ago. These are reverse proof Solomon Island 1.5 ounce. These are absolutely gorgeous.
They are pretty.
These are 2017 Queens.
Solomon Island, cool.
So these are normally selling for around $75, but we got them a lot lower than that.
Wow.
But they're just real nice. They're a sort of high end. We've got, these just came in, and so we've got some Prospector, Engelhard Prospector rounds.
Yep, those are always hot items.
So we've got some that are toned, and we've got some that are absolutely perfect.
Yeah, you did have. I got a couple of those, and
so these are that's an 1986. We have a few 2024 kookaburras at incredibly low premiums. Awesome. These always do well. If you look online, look at the older ones, they end up $70 or more for the older dates. We have a stash of the most beautiful little baby 1/4 ounce Armenian Noah's Arks.
Oh yeah, that's right. Those are sweet too.
These are great if you like giving silver, but at $30 an ounce, it's getting a bit much to give an ounce at once. Those are great to have a few for gifts. And we do have, for any silverback fans, we have a few 5 ounce and 1 ounce.
Yeah, those are sweet. So now that's a collaboration, guys, between Kinesis Mint and Silverback Gorillas, which was tell us the story there and how you know them. And
so that I came across Silverback through meeting the tragically late, not because he's late, because he died, the tragic death of James Forsyth, who died a couple of months ago. So I met him at the New Orleans Investment Conference in 2021, and we became friends on the spot. So we started, ARK Silver started helping them out with 1,000-ounce bars, and then I was sort of shared Jim's journey building a mint, his own little casting setup, casting and slicing. So yeah, we were very early sellers of the slices, and then through the Kinesis platform, Kinesis purchased a mint in Turkey and started producing their own bars and rounds, and then they started producing silverback. So I don't know, I pulled one out. They've also got a 1-ounce silverback round, Take Your Silverback, which is a great round.
Yep.
But tragically, after an accident, Jim died on March the 14th. So hopefully his son-in-law, Omi, is going to carry on and kickstart up the silverback business again.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's good to hear. So, Nick, yep, this is Ian's website here. It's ARK SGO. If you just type in ARKSGO.com, you'll pull up this website right here.
Oh, that's a good question from Nick there. I didn't really see this pullback we had, because we went down to 29.40, I think, or 41.
Yep.
I thought 30 was a floor for sure, with that arbitrage to the Chinese Shanghai gold market price. So I think it's possible, but I think we are going to rapidly see premiums increase. I'm already seeing it on some products now, wholesale. It's the bargains are still out there, but it's getting harder and harder to get them. At the moment, the dimes are actually the lowest I've ever seen them. So dimes are a great opportunity at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm putting your number in here. Why don't you go ahead and give out your info if people want to get a hold of you and talk to you?
Yeah, I do best talking to people on the phone. So my phone number is 307-264-9441. And yeah, it's we started selling osmium. We thought it was going to be like just a little side hustle, but I think somehow I knew it was going to be big, and we're selling more and more osmium week by week, and getting some big orders now, and interestingly from first-time buyers who've never seen it. I have a lot of respect for people who buy it without having seen it in sunlight.
Yeah, that's interesting.
If you've seen it in sunlight and you're not interested, I don't know, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
But to buy it without seeing it is, I'm impressed with that.
Oh, well, so I guess he says he's already, Nick here says he's purchased a little bit from you. So that's awesome. That's
he bought some, and he hadn't seen it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Oh, you're going to be very impressed when you get it in hand, no doubt. And then if you
I love how people are thinking of things they can create with it.
Yep.
It's so many luxury or simple applications, and whilst the pieces start in the low $20 or in the sort of mid $20, you can buy a piece and mess around. There's all sorts of things you could use it for. I think that haven't even been thought of yet. It was great at the symposium to see hundreds of different pieces of jewelry. There were 5 or 6 watches there, and stuff from all around the world.
That's what we need. That's what we need, Ian, is if they have a video or if you have some pictures. I know I asked you about that last time, but I would love to get some type of video or pictures or something of the grand opening over there. Yeah,
sure. I'll get in touch with the photographer. His yeah, I'll get him to send. They hired a really great guy from Lithuania. He came across.
Okay.
Yeah, I take checks, ACH, Cash App, Zelle. I really don't like doing credit card because it means I've got to charge you 4% fee.
Yeah.
And I don't see why the bank should get a huge.
I know.
Like, now, if it was 1%, I think I could tolerate it. But we do. We are set up to take credit cards. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. All right, Ian. Well, I think that's about all I have for you tonight. So.
Oh, one final thing. I haven't done the unboxing yet. Here's an earlier one, so it's a little bit tarnished. But
oh, those are those.
These back in stock.
Oh, show people
we have
that.
them back in stock.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's oh man, that's hard to stomach.
So hopefully we'll be yeah, Ryan, who makes these, he gets the fit so perfect. It goes in an air cushion.
Look at that.
They're fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's too cool.
Laser engraves on the end of the bullets, and I am reliably informed that this is the antidote to the Federal Reserve. So,
no doubt. Nick, oh, that's cool, Nick. I've had a couple pendants and earrings made. Also, just got my second order delivered a couple weeks ago. I got a jeweler to make probably the first piece in San Diego. Awesome. That's cool. I'd love to see those as well, Nick.
It's a beautiful pendant he had done. It's his partner's initial, I think, in a beautiful round, sort of a round pebble of gold. It's it's just slightly rounded, and I hadn't even thought of that. And it really does, inspire creativity.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Well, that's very cool to hear. That's awesome.
So what we hope to do here is to have a showcase of all of the osmium manufacturing, all of the people making beautiful things with osmium from around the world. We want to showcase their work here in Jackson. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, great.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Again. Here we go.
Yeah, that's too cool. That's got to take some time and some.
He's just an incredibly skilled machinist. The silver is quite a hard thing to machine because it's quite sticky.
So soft, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get any swarf pickup because it will drag and mark it. So all respect to somebody who can make that.
Very cool.
So yeah, we have those, and we have regular silver dice as well.
Oh, do you have one of your dice with the osmium in it?
Oh, where did I put that? Ooh, I can pull up a picture. We can try that. Let me try that. That might work.
I'll drop it in here for you, Nick.
That might work. How's that?
Oh wow, look at those. Those are awesome. Oh wow, that's an impressive dice right there. I didn't know it was going to be that precise. I've seen some dice that aren't that good at work. That's really good work there.
Yeah, that's the same guy who makes a revolver, Ryan.
Okay.
These are 3/4 of an inch, 1.5 ounce of silver, and obviously 21 3mm osmium diamonds in each dice.
Okay, that's awesome. That's beautiful.
So
that's very good job there.
Yeah, we had a few orders, and we're making them as fast as we can. Well, the delay is actually the Osmium Institute cutting enough of the discs for us.
Wow. Wow.
So what we're doing with those, we haven't made them yet, but everybody who buys a pair will get. I will make a American black walnut box, little handmade box to
accompany them.
Wow. Yeah,
very cool. Yeah, I agree, Al. I bet Tiger would love one of those. Thanks, Neil, for dropping my email. Yeah, Nick, if you want to just send me an email, that would be great at longlivecoins@gmail.com. That would be awesome. I'd love that. Yeah, I agree. Tiger Smacker would go crazy for those dice. I am. I
think Nick's friend Roger was working on a website where people could put on their you know, like ever sent one website where people could display their designs on.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Very. Yeah. We need to get that up, and that would be
Yeah.
a place where we can put up pieces if we want to sell them or buy them back, and people can know about where to contact. And yeah, that'd be cool. Cool. Great info. All right, Ian. Well, we'll keep you all night. And we'll have you back again here shortly. And what are we missing? Am I leaving anything out? What would you like to leave the people with this week?
Keep on stacking, and yeah, look out for your neighbors. Be kind to dogs and small children. You got to smile. It's easier. I think I suffer a little bit from the seasonal affective disorder, so I get a bit. I get a bit like in the winter, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot. We have so much to be thankful for in America.
That's for sure.
I know a lot of people don't. Anybody who's got it bad, I've had a lot of bad times. I know what it's like.
Sure.
I really do. You know, I lost my little brother 2019. You know, from a brain tumor. That was. I know what it's like to watch a loved one die slowly. So I know lots of people are having a hard time, but we are in a great country. The people are great. The opportunities are still here, and
yeah,
let's not let. I mean, a good friend of me, he always reminds me. He always says to me, you know, if you don't lie down, they can't kick you, you know, or something like that. And it's like keep getting up, and we're here to help each other, you know, aren't we? Really?
Yep. And live today for today while we have what we have. Like you say, we got so much right now. Be very thankful. I am, and I need to be more so. But it's we got
it's contagious. It makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Yep, and smiling at people, just giving people a smile and nod when you walk by helps a lot.
I've heard of stories where people were going to commit suicide and they were on the way to do it, and somebody gave them a smile.
Yeah.
And that changed their whole everything.
Outlook. Yep.
You know,
it can make a little
smiles.
Yep.
Let's keep bringing humanity back into this nation, you know, because to be honest, I'm fed up of the political parties. I think they're all absolute crap.
Yep.
I think they're all despicable. They're all a waste of space. They're all self-seeking. You know, it's down to us as individuals to bring back what America should be.
Yep. That's why I've been trying a lot on myself to just do better myself, because I can't look out and throw stones when I need to do better myself. So let's start.
You're a great guy. You've always been encouraging, LLC. Right from that first time when you visited, and you know, that was a big thing for me, that you'd make the effort to do a 2-day drive up, you know, and bring the family, and a 2-day back. That was and
it's turned out to be way more than I realized I was going to. But that's
and I think it's a beginning of a lifelong friendship. And you know, if we can make friends faster than we're losing them, I think we're doing okay, aren't we? I guess.
Yep. And I agree that I've been trying to tell the people who I might have an effect on to say hi to people more and smile at them more, because it really does. Especially there was some times during the lockdown I noticed that, boy, smile. People would even let me know, you know, boy, thanks for that, saying hi.
I mean, that, whether that was accidental or deliberate, the effects were horrific on people who did have to stay at home for 2 years.
Oh man,
that was wrong.
To say the least. It was for sure, Ian. All right, well, that's awesome. I'm excited to get you back on. Hopefully, maybe I'll get in touch. I'll see if I'd love to get some footage of what happened over there as well, so we can show the people.
They will be putting some stuff together. We do actually have. So the Awesome Institute, we do have a social media guy who's coordinating all of that stuff now. So
oh, nice.
It's been the journey they've had to get this far is like, you know, they've done so well to get this far. So it is a bit like, I think it was Nick's friend Roger said to me, "You're building the plane whilst flying it," and that's a good analogy. Sometimes it's like you're building the plane and trying to keep it in the air, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, we will. Yeah, they're paying more attention, obviously, to the media stuff, and they're traveling the world. I mean, Scarlett spends her days off talking to. You know, her last day off, she spent the whole day talking to a famous tennis player who is really interested in promoting Osmium and talking to a famous DJ, you know, and she just keeps working at it. And her effort helps us, any of us who are involved with Osmium, you know. So.
Yeah, and they're so great. Hopefully I don't hurt their image too much. Hopefully we can help them.
Not at all. No, they love what you're doing, LLC.
Oh, so. Cool. Good to hear. Because I'm impressed with what I've heard with her, how she wants to promote it and handle it. I've been very impressed with hearing her talk about it. And I had someone ask me about the Saudis. How did the Saudis receive Osmium? And I thought I was thinking somewhere I was hearing her mention that.
Yeah, they did a trip to Dubai and Saudi, South Korea. There's a lot. In fact, we've got a contact there. The State Institute partner for South Korea actually wants us to get a price for making the dice in gold. So that's a bit of an upgrade.
Nice.
Cool. A bit scary catching the dust from catching chickens. She's connected with a lot of the high-end casinos, so she thinks she could sell gold osmium dice there.
Wow, man, that'll be a piece to see right there.
Yeah, I mean, they did the 500 edition of the quarter-ounce gold Panther bars with a 3mm osmium disc in it. And those sold for $1,800 each, and they sold out 500 of those.
Did I hear about something? Anybody that we know get a hold of anything like that? Or
I gave up mine. I had a client.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Clients wanted me to get him one. I said I would get him one. I thought I could get two.
Oh no!
So he had my one. Well, what do you do? I told the client he could have one. So
I see. Okay, yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. Awesome. All right, Ian. Well, I better wind this one down here.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I get a bit like emotional when I think about how the system is harming the people.
Oh, you know, I do too.
It's so unnecessary.
It is, and I this last time we were up, I was kind of pressing on you about the financial. And later, I was thinking, poor Ian. Here I am trying to pull all these things out of him. He has no idea whatsoever. But that's the same. I just want people to. I want to warn them, and I want them to see how this is coming.
Yeah.
And I wish they would. But you can't force anything. So you just gotta. Do whatever you can, and like you say, then enjoy the beauty that we have today around us. So
they do have, I think they have 12 websites. So the way they developed, every time they needed a new function, Ingo just built a new website.
I noticed that.
I do tease them. I say, "Where's the website listing all your websites?" It's like,
they need to come up with a folder and just put them all in there.
So part of the training we had was they showed us all of the websites. I'm not very good at being trained, so either.
All right, guys. Okay, El, thanks so much, El. You're awesome. Neil, thanks as always. Nick Bermudez, it was very nice talking to you. Good to see you. I would love to. Hopefully, I get some photos from you. That would
you will. In fact, actually, hang on, go on then. We've been here so long. Let me.
Homestead Aquarius. Thanks.
I have a picture of Nick's pendant. I'm sure I do. Come on, where are you?
Space Miner, thanks for hanging out tonight. I'm glad you made it back. Did you get that fire under control over there?
So
Cranky, Mentally Corrupted.
So there's a pendant he had made.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that beautiful? So simple, but so And look the way that the edge is bent round and joined at the top.
Oh man, if mine turns out something like that,
It'll be every bit as lovely as that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was the pendant we're talking about.
Man, that looks good. Man, that osmium looks good in that metal setting like that. Wow. That looks really good. That was a good picture. That's cool.
Here we go. Here's the, come on. Here is the pendant with that. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That is cool. Those are awesome. Huh, that's really pretty cool. Hey, Dub C, welcome in. We're just wrapping up here, but good to see you. Good to see you. I'm going to try to get to that top 5 bullion if I have a chance. I'm a little busy, but it's on my list. Yeah, that was a great video you put out there. So I'd love to. Hoping I'm going to get one out too. So appreciate you.
All right, we're taking you up on that, Neil, when you get your island. You see that? When he buys his island, everyone is welcome.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, yeah, we were talking about that the other day, Neil. We were talking about your island and how I might not.
But you'll need your piece of osmium as your pass key to get in.
There you go. That's right.
You need at least 1 2mm square of osmium to get in.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome, guys. All right, we're gonna wrap this one up for the night, but thanks so much for coming in. It was a great night, and we will see you guys on the next one.